Conor Benn will face Chris Algieri on December the 11th in Liverpool, UK, live on DAZN. Now this, in the eyes of most, will probably be considered a slight step up from his previous opponent, Adrian Granados, if only for the fact that Chris Algieri is a former world champion. Now, Ben has been pretty active over the past few years. This will be his third fight in 2021. Contrast that with Chris Algieri, who's now pushing 40 and has been relatively inactive. So he did fight earlier on this year. That was a 10-round UD over Mikel Lespierre. But prior to that, he hasn't fought since 2019 when he beat Tommy Coyle on the AJ Ruiz undercard. So that was 2 years out the ring. And prior to that, of course, he fought Daniel Gonzalez also in 2019, Angel Hernandez in 2018. But again, there's a 2-year gap between that fight and the Errol Spence fight where he got absolutely destroyed. So hasn't been particularly active, is up there in age now. And that Tommy Coyle fight was really competitive. Let's be real. Tommy Coyle had plenty of success there. The scorecards here would make it look as though it was a very easy night's work for Chris Algieri, but that's not what I remember. I remember a competitive bout. Now, I'm interested to see which style and which strategy Algieri employs against Conor Benn, because Conor Benn has shown some versatility. He primarily likes to come forward and attack, but we've seen him box as well. Chris Algieri has also shown that versatility because back in the days, he was a stick and move merchant. When he won his world title against Provodnikov, it was all on the back foot, constant movement. Against Manny Pacquiao, and he lost that fight, was down 6 times. That's the infamous come up out the cage bout, right, that we all remember. But again, he was sticking and moving in that one. Against Amir Khan, however, he actually came forward and pressured Khan for the whole bout. Now, I haven't seen all of his fights since the Khan bout. I certainly saw the Errol Spence bout. Didn't matter what he did there. He just got absolutely steamrolled. But the other bouts, Eric Bone or Benet, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Hernandez, Gonzalez, haven't seen these, did see the Tommy Coyle fight, and certainly in the Coyle fight, he was coming forward and trying to apply pressure against Tommy Coyle. So will we see that version of Algieri, who's aggressive against Conor Benn, or will we see the version of Algieri who fought Provodnikov, who's trying to stick and move on the outside? Perhaps we'll see a combination of the two. Now, the question is, why has Algieri moved away from the stick and move stuff? Is it because he doesn't like being hunted? Is that what it is? He just doesn't like that feeling and he wants to be the hunter rather than the hunted? Or is it more to do with his age? In boxing, the old adage is the legs are the first thing to go. And from what I've seen over the decades, that's true for the most part. Perhaps that's the reason that he is now more, for lack of a better term, flat-footed. Why he decides to plant his feet more now and actually come forward, because he doesn't have the legs to be able to move for as long as he did, for a whole 12 rounds like he did back in the day. So going to be interesting to see how he approaches the fight. He does have the height and reach on Conor Benn. Is he going to really try and use that, or will he, in most people's eyes, play into Conor Benn's hands by fighting the way he did, let's say, against Amir Khan or Tommy Coyle? So that's where the interest is. This will be the biggest name on Conor Benn's record to date. Now, there's a lot of critics out there of Conor Benn who say that he's just another Matchroom hype job. He's living off his dad's name. He's being fed cream puffs. They want him to fight the elite guys now. Why isn't he fighting Jaron Ennis? All of this stuff to me is silly, because Conor Benn didn't have many amateur bouts. And although they have built his career quite well from a marketing perspective, they haven't just thrown him in with cream puffs and not attempted to improve him. That's not the case. Because if you look back, for example, at the Cedric Peno fight, he was down several times in that bout. That was a real tough fight. That would have been a big scare for him and his team. If you're just looking to protect a guy, well, here's the first bout. I'm looking at the second one there. If you're just looking to protect a prospect and give him cream puffs and knockover jobs, then why would you put him straight back in with a guy who dropped him several times a couple fights later? Why would you do that? They did that because they're trying to improve him. You see, it's not just about purely protecting him and taking no risks. It's about trying to improve him. So they put him back in there with Payno, and he did show improvement. And they've gradually stepped him up. The Formella fight, again, was a good performance where he actually boxed for the most part in that bout. Got rid of Sammy Vargas. Yeah, I wasn't happy about the stoppage there, but he did get rid of him. Adrian Granados. Granados has been talking absolute rubbish, acting like he won the bout. He definitely lost it. So they've been stepping him up gradually and improving him steadily. Where is Conor Benn's ceiling, though? How high can he actually go? There's still a lot of people out there, and perhaps myself included, who think that he might be better off at 140 pounds rather than 147, because he just doesn't seem anywhere near as big as the elite guys in this weight division. Maybe he feels like he'll grow into it. And maybe he feels like he doesn't want to drain himself. I don't know. Maybe he needs that extra energy without having to cut all the extra weight. So whatever the case may be, I think they're moving Conor Benn quite well for a guy with limited amateur experience. And again, they're developing him as a pro. Where he goes from here, let's see how he does against Algieri. I'm expecting him to win. It's a 10-round bout. I think Algieri should be old enough. He should be stationary enough. And he's never been a big puncher, of course, Chris Algieri, for Conor Benn to be able to take care of business. But there's such a big gap between the Algieris of the world and the world level guys at 147 pounds. How do you bridge that gap? How long does it take? Can he actually bridge that gap? These are the questions. Now, some people might say, take a gamble with him. He's only 25 years of age. You know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. He who dares wins. Take a gamble, put him in there against the top 10 guy and see how he gets on. If he loses, well, then at least he knows how far away he is from that level and they can work towards it. Whereas other people will say, no, there's no point doing that. Allow him to continue improving. And then by the time he is, or they feel that he is ready for a world title bout, he may be a pay-per-view star by then. So from a managerial perspective, from a commercial perspective, they'll be able to cash in or cash out, depending on how you want to look at it, when the time comes. So, you guys, I'm sure, all have your own views and opinions that may differ from each other. Me personally, I can't really grumble in terms of the way they've moved Conor Benn so far. Again, all this talk about him, he should fight Jaron Ennis. Why? Jaron Ennis is clearly leagues and leagues above him. Why do you want to see a guy who's not on that level, not close to that level yet, just get absolutely destroyed? What's the point? Don't you want to see competitive bouts? So if Conor Benn's not at that, and he may never be at that level, right? But he certainly hasn't reached his ceiling yet. And they're trying to gradually increase the level of opposition. So I have no issue with the way his career has been moved so far. There's other people talking about Avanesian. Why doesn't he fight Avanesian? That's a good bout. That's a far more realistic bout than talking about him fighting Jaron Ennis. So Avanesian, yes, that's a fight I'd like to see. And let's see what happens here against Algieri. Algieri, of course, has an opportunity to cause an upset, is a former world champion. Maybe he does know enough tricks of the trade to be able to go in there and do something. I doubt it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And as I've previously mentioned, what tactics do you think Algieri's going to employ here? Will it be hit and hop it? Will it be coming forward on the front foot trying to pressure Benn? And what will Benn do? Will Benn come forward as he did against Granados? Or will he decide to box as he did, let's say, against Formella? So, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. And just looking at the event here, not sure if they've put together any kind of undercard. Who's there? Joe Cordina, Padilla, Katie Taylor. Okay, so not much there on the undercard so far. We'll see if they're able to build this into a decent one. Again, it is going to be on DAZN. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you happy with this opponent? How do you see the fight going? What tactics do you think they're going to use? And do you think this is going to benefit Conor Benn? It's definitely a name, the biggest name in his record so far. But in terms of developing him as a fighter, do you think that this is a big enough step up from the likes of Adrian Granados to really develop him in any kind of appreciable way? Or do you think it's more a marketing fight, a name that people recognize on the resume to build him up into a pay-per-view star? Except I don't know, it's going to be on DAZN, but let's be real, DAZN are already talking about doing pay-per-views. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.